Namaste. This is David Hawthorne at astroview.com. Today's the 29th of October 2017. This morning on Sunday morning TV show on CBS, there was a segment on Michael J. Fox and all the charity work he's doing for Parkinson's. So I thought I would do his chart. He's a Canadian-American actor, author, producer, activist. His film and television career began in the 1970s. He starred in 3 famous movies, Back to the Future series, and was on the ABC TV show called Spin City for about 4 years. He won actually 5 Emmys, 4 Golden Globes, and 2 Screen Actor Guild Awards. He was also on the American TV show Family Ties, and he ended up marrying one of the co-stars, Tracy, on July 16th, 1988. His father died January 6, 1990 from a heart attack, and Michael J. Fox was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 1991 at the age of 29. And he has 1 son and 3 daughters, including twin daughters. So I thought we'd review his chart based on the systems approach to Vedic astrology, which takes into account the functional nature of the planets, which changes for each ascendant or rising sign. So he was born on June 9th, 1961 at 12:15 a.m. in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So in the first house, he's got the 10th sign of the zodiac ascending or rising at 25 degrees 17 minutes of Capricorn. And he has Saturn retrograde at 5 degrees 48 minutes of Capricorn and Jupiter retrograde at 13 minutes 30 degrees. Retrograde planets at the time of birth cause no adverse effects. For Capricorn rising sign, there are 5 planets that will never cause harm. These 5 planets can and should be strengthened to add protective covering to life. So Saturn, ruling the 2nd house of wealth, status, speech, and family life, is a functional benefic planet, will never cause harm, will never cause the dreaded sati sati. Mars, ruling the 4th house of parents, childhood, happiness, property, is a functional malefic planet for Capricorn. Moon, ruling the 7th house of marriage, relationships, partnerships, joint ventures, and comforts living abroad, is a functional benefic planet. Mercury, ruling the 9th house of father, guru, religion, long-distance journeys, is a functional benefic planet, will never cause harm. And Venus, ruling the 10th house of professional life and wife, will never cause harm. For Capricorn rising, Rahu and Ketu are functional malefic planets. We know they're functional malefic planets for every ascendant, for every rising sign, because these 2 mathematical ecliptic points in the zodiac cause the eclipse of the sun and the moon every year since the beginning of time. So if they can bring darkness to the royal luminary sun and moon, then they can bring darkness into a person's life. We have to manage them. Nobody escapes. But in some charts they are benign, in other charts they cause trouble. Now you know it doesn't matter what we find in a chart, it matters whether we fix what we find in a chart. So if Michael J. Fox had a systems approach Vedic astrology reading early in life and did the planetary remedies for his chart, then I think there could have been some better results in his life. I mean, he's been very, very successful, happily married. He's got a great wife. She was with him before he came down with his health issue, and she stayed with him all this time. That's really commendable on her part. Now there are 2 other planets for Capricorn that can cause adverse effects from time to time, either in the birth chart or in the transit chart. These include the 8th house ruler, the Sun, and the 12th house ruler, Jupiter. Those who have been watching my videos know that there are 3 inauspicious houses called Dustan Bhavas: the 6th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house. For every chart, these are Dustan Bhavas. So planets going into these houses become weak, and planets ruling these houses can cause adverse effects in some cases. It has to do with the position of the Mul-Trikona signs. Every planet has a Mul-Trikona sign. These are 1, Aries for Mars, 4, Cancer for the Moon, 5, Leo for the Sun, 6, Virgo for the Mercury, 7, Libra for the Venus, and 11, Aquarius for Saturn, and 9, Sagittarius for Jupiter. So 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11. Those are the Mul-Trikona signs. If a Mul-Trikona sign falls in the 6th, 8th, or 12th house, the ruler becomes a functional malefic planet for that chart only. So in this case, there is no Mul-Trikona sign in the 6th house, so no trouble. But the 8th house contains the Mul-Trikona sign for Sun, and the 12th house contains the Mul-Trikona sign for Jupiter, rendering these 2 functional malefic planets. Even still, we have to see how they are operating. Jupiter at 13 degrees is not close to the rising sign degree. This is not an arbitrary number. This is the most effective point of every house. This number is 0 to 30 possible in the first house. In every house, 0 to 30 degrees. This number changes every 4 minutes of the day, very specific to the exact time of birth. It's such an important number that any planet close to the most effective point, that we call this the most effective point of every house. So any planet either in the birth chart or in the transit chart going over the most effective point will have an impact. If it's a benefic planet, like Mars here is benefic, close to the rising sign degree. So Mars gives good results in the 7th house of marriage, and it aspects 4, 7, and 8 houses away. So the 4th aspect is into the 10th house of career, brings successful career. The 7th aspect is in the 1st house. It gives him courage. And the 8th aspect is into the 2nd house. And it also gives him happiness, wealth, status, family life, and courageous speech. So Jupiter, even though it's a functional malefic planet, ruling the 12th house, is not close to the most effective point, so it does not bother this house. And it's outside the 5-degree orb of Saturn. It doesn't bother Saturn. It throws an aspect 5, 7, and 9 houses away. It is outside the 5-degree orb of of Sun, so it doesn't bother Jupiter doesn't bother Sun, and it's outside the 5-degree orb of Mars, and there's nothing 9 houses away. So we would call this Jupiter benign. Does not cause harm. It rules the 12th house of foreign lands, and it's in the 1st house of self. So even though he was Canadian, he became an American. Lives abroad. Lives in a foreign land to his birthplace. Saturn in the 1st house is a Panch Mahapurusha Yoga here. It's one of the 5 great yogas because it's in its own sign of Capricorn in a Kendra. This is actually good for longevity of life. Even though he's had Parkinson's for 25 years, he's still moving in the right direction, as it were. Saturn throws an aspect 3, 7, and 10 houses away, but nothing within the 5-degree orb. He will never have the dreaded Sati Sati. Saturn is a functional benefic planet. Ketu in the 2nd house says he can speak on spiritual matters. Ketu is Moksha Karaka. 2nd house is wealth, status, speech, and family life. Ketu throws an aspect 5, 7, and 9 houses away. So nothing within 5 degrees in terms of the other planets. It's always opposite Rahu, the northern node, so this is fine. So Ketu is also benign and ruled by a strong, good Saturn. So that keeps him on a spiritual path. And I think that contributes to his continuation of family life. There's been no discontinuation relative to his children or his wife. Third house, 12th sign Pisces. Fourth house, first sign Aries. Now Moon and Venus for this chart are functional benefic planets, will never cause harm. These are great planets. Moon rules the house of marriage, partnerships, joint ventures. It's in the house of property. And this also connects marriage and partnerships with foreign lands. Whenever the seventh or 10th rulers are connected with the fourth or vice versa, there can be living abroad or traveling abroad or marriage abroad. So these two are fine. Neither of them are close to the rising sign degree, so they have no additional aspects that are applicable. The conjunction is quite good. Moon gives public favor. Venus gives the fine arts, the performing arts, and the healing arts, so entertainment is fine. Venus rules this 10th house of professional life. It's in the 4th house of home life and happiness at home. It's interesting, a lot of his TV shows had to do with family life, 4th house. And Moon is public favor. A lot of creativity, and these two are ruled by the Mars in the house of marriage. So Moon ruling marriage and partnerships is in the house of happiness, ruled by Mars in the house of marriage and partnership. That's a good yoga exchange here. In the 5th house, the second sign, Taurus, and we have Sun in Taurus. Sun is known as Atma Karaka, significator for the soul. So his soul is very earthy, very practical, self-made, ambitious. This is the house of education. This is the house of children. So that may give him royal children. It's interesting he has twins, but he has 4 children altogether. But Sun rules this 8th house, Leo, known as Randra, transformations, vulnerability, accidents, and death-like experiences. And Sun becomes the most malefic planet for Capricorn. And unfortunately, Sun, if you round that off, is 25 degrees. The most effective point is 25 degrees. So this afflicts the 5th house of mind, and it could cause some trouble for his children, such as loss of father. This weakens the Sun, because Sun is in a house that is afflicted. No matter it's doing the afflicting, it afflicts the house. So Sun becomes weak. And the 7th aspect of the Sun causes trouble relative to the 11th house. I don't think he has any older siblings. 11th house is older siblings. Yes, it can give some royal income, so we can always see some positive, but we have to manage the adverse effects. So he should never wear a ruby gemstone. And I think because Sun is weak in a house that's afflicted, then he's having trouble with inflammation in the body and clogged arteries or trouble with the cardiovascular system. The stomach and digestion could be in trouble too. Heart, blood, bones, and immune system become weak. Remedy for the Sun is to help father or father-in-law on Sundays. And there's some other remedies too that are Vedic remedies, which I won't go into in this reading here. But he needs to do the remedies for the Sun. In the 6th house, we have the 3rd sign, Mercury. The 3rd sign, Gemini, with Mercury in Gemini. So this brings the 9th house issues into the 6th house. 9th house is father, guru, religion, and it's in the house of health issues and mental tension. Now, Mercury will never cause harm. It's a favorable planet, so he should wear the emerald gemstone and keep a lot of green plants and green colors in his home and workspace. When Mercury's weak, it causes trouble with the respiratory canal and skin eruptions and nervous tension. So the emerald gemstone would have been helpful. Would still be helpful. 7th house, 4th sign Cancer. This is Mars here. Now Mars is a favorable planet, will never cause harm. It is on the rising sign degree, so it does bless the house of marriage, the house of career, the house of self, and the house of continuation of family life. So that gives some protection. It is a debilitated Mars, so that weakens the muscular parts of the body and the energy level. He can wear a red coral gemstone, C-O-R-A-L, to strengthen Mars. In the 8th house, we have the 5th sign Leo, and this is Rahu. Rahu's not on the most effective point, so it does not bother this house, or this house, or this house, or this house. But now you see the problem. Rahu, if you round that off to 7 degrees, it's closely afflicting Moon at 8 degrees and closely afflicting Venus at 9 degrees. So I think this Rahu on the Moon is not good, and on the Venus is not good. Now Rahu is charisma, fame, and fortune, energy, and ambition. Its aspect on the Moon can give public favor. Its aspect on Venus can give success in professional life. Venus rules the 10th house. But this can also cause some trouble. I think he's got trouble with, if he was my client, I'd say for him not to take white sugar products. And this is also causing some problems with the heart. Sun and Moon are both connected with the heart. Now, Mars rules the brain. Mars rules Aries. Aries rules the head and the brain. So Mars is debilitated in this chart, so he needs to strengthen this Mars. And then that Rahu on Moon and Venus is not good. So he should be on a gluten-free, sugar-free diet. Now, Dr. Joel Wallach, who is one of my favorite nutritionists, says that Parkinson, Alzheimer's, and MS can all be supported by doing the nutritional remedial measures. So you might want to go to YouTube and look up Dr. Joel Wallach, W-A-L-L-A-C-H, and his videos on Parkinson, Alzheimer's, and MS, and other health issues. He's quite a brilliant man. I won't discuss him right now. But he's actually helped people with Parkinson's with nutritional products. But in this case, I would recommend that we pacify Rahu with the remedies. So helping afflicted persons is a remedy, and he's got a big foundation now for helping people with Parkinson's and for doing research for Parkinson's. So he's doing remedies for his chart, just that alone. So helping afflicted persons is a good remedy for Rahu when Rahu causes affliction. See, I'm worried that this can cause trouble for Moon, which is his wife, and Venus, which is his wife. So I think this has been causing a lot of stress for her for all these years. So if he was my client, I'd say wear a single pearl for the Moon, wear a single diamond for the Venus, wear an emerald for the Mercury, wear a red coral for the Mars. Blue sapphire is safe and favorable for continuation of family life. Not so necessary. This is a very strong Saturn. And I think that's supporting. Saturn is Ayush Karaka, significator for longevity. Now his career started in the 1970s. He was running his 20 years of Venus. Venus rules professional life. It's with Moon, which is the public favor. Moon is also entertainment. Venus is entertainment. Rahu is charisma and ambition. So that's where he got all of his start. was also successful during Sun, but Sun is not a favorable planet, and I think it started weakening some issues with him. I think it was basically more of a cardiovascular or trouble with the arteries, clogged arteries type of thing. See, I think that all health problems start with inflammation in the body. Here, let's see, so let's take a look at some of these dates. So he married in July 88. So July 88, he would have been here in Mercury. He lost his father in January 1990 in the Venus period. Venus is under the affliction of Rahu, operating out of Leo, ruled by the Sun, which is father. And then the Parkinson's, 1991. So in 91, he would have been in the Mars. If it was the first half of 91, or the first seven months of 91, he would have been in Mars, which is debilitated. If he was diagnosed in the second half, it would have been on Rahu. Rahu afflicts Moon and Venus. So Dr. Wallach says that Parkinson's and these other ones, Alzheimer's and MS, are connected with the brain. So he says the brain is largely cholesterol, but he claims that if we do the nutritional products, then that would help. By the way, he highly recommends the eating of lightly scrambled eggs cooked in butter, and not overcooked, not fried. Lightly scrambled eggs, and he says eat a lot of them, and that will help restore the muscular parts of the brain. I forget the term for what the brain is made out of, but it's apparently connected with cholesterol as well, which is actually positive. So he says eggs are really good. So 91, Rahu. You see this whole thing, this is the Moon. And Moon is afflicted in this chart. Then he goes into the Mars. Mars is debilitated in the chart. And Mars is not only debilitated, but it's ruled by an afflicted Moon. Planet cannot give greater results than the strength of its landlord, its dispositor. Then he went into Rahu Mahadasha, Rahu main period. Rahu's operating out of the 8th house of death-like experiences, transformations, vulnerability, setbacks, obstructions, disappointments. And Rahu afflicts Moon and Venus. He just finished running Mercury, which is a favorable planet, but weak in the 6th house of health issues. Now, from now until September 2018, he's in the K2 subperiod. K2 is okay, it doesn't cause any harm in this chart, but it brings a lot of spiritual progress. I'm a little more concerned after this. Then he goes into Venus, which is favorable for his chart, favorable for career, but afflicted by Rahu. Now, this is 7 degrees, this is 9.5. So it's not 100% affliction. 8 degrees would be 80%. So 9 degrees would be 60%. So it's not a serious 100% affliction, but it is worthwhile. I mean, it causes trouble. So I have to be careful here, and I think he's going to have to be careful here during the Sun period and Moon. So this does not look so good, in my opinion. He needs to do the twofold planetary astral remedial measures for the chart. You strengthen your favorable planets with color therapy, gemstone therapy, or the mystical pendant, the silver medallion, yantra, known as a kavach or kavacham. I've been using these for over 20 years with tremendous results. And then you do the Bhuta Yagya, Deva Yagya, where planets causing adverse effects. That's charities and chants. So he can help elderly men on Sundays. He can help children and students on Thursdays to pacify Sun and Jupiter. He should help afflicted persons on Mondays and holy persons on Thursdays. If he wanted to, he could listen to the Vedic chants for Vishnu, Vishnu, on Sundays. This is good for all Capricorns. He can listen to the Vishnu chants on Thursdays for Jupiter. Shiva chants on Mondays and Ganesh chants on Thursdays. These chants are for the 108 names, take about 7 minutes. So it's easy enough to fit them into one schedule. Sage Parashara says that when we honor the planets, they honor us. They're under the instruction to do good to those who honor you. So that means if we honor the planet, then they can stop causing trouble in our lives. We keep the remedies simple so that people can actually do them, but they're very potent. Only the person doing them knows their power. So I highly recommend doing the twofold remedies for your own chart. So my heart and prayer goes out to Michael J. Fox and his wonderful family. I hope he's successful with his research into Parkinson and helping others. But I highly recommend that if people have health issues, they should go and start watching the videos for Dr. Joel, Joel, Wallach, Wallach. I think he's absolutely brilliant. He says people don't die from disease. They die from malnutrition. They're not getting the proper nutrients into their physiology. And he says there is no such thing as genetic disease. It's people who just don't know how to treat the problem. So check him out if you get a chance. I think you'll appreciate his knowledge. Okay, I hope this reading is helpful. Stay in touch. I'm here if you need me. David@astroview.com. Namah Shivaya.